Hey, college and career success. So I'm coming to you again from my home. And this is another online session sponsored by Comfy Clothes and Coffee. I hope everyone's doing well. I know I was able to touch base with a lot of you via phone this past week, just making sure you're doing okay and what questions you have, because I know this is still an experience you're going to have to be getting used to. So this lecture I'm recording for right now is for Tuesday, March 24th. And as a reminder, if you have not already done so, you are submitting your Chapter 4 take-home quiz, which is at this point just a home quiz, and your Chapter 5 journal. Those two assignments were due or are due by today, Tuesday, March 24th, by this evening. So if you have not submitted them yet, you still have a little bit of time, but those also count for your week 9 attendance. So that way I know you are interacting with the week 9 materials. So those two assignments, Chapter 4 quiz and Chapter 5 journal, make sure you submit them no later than 10 o'clock tonight, Tuesday, March 24th. So today we are going to pick up on the regular scheduled plans for the 24th of March, week 10 of the semester. So I'm again going to be doing some screen sharing and talking to you about what we would have done in class. So the first thing, we were originally scheduled to have the Writing Center come in today. And obviously that is not anymore since we are not on a physical campus. Instead, you are still going to hear from them, and you're still going to do a takeaway on them. So in that regard, that has not changed, but it's all going to be done digitally, which at this point we can only access the Writing Center digitally anyway. So inside our course, if you go to the Lessons tab, I have embedded, as soon as you get there, right underneath where our class videos are, there is the Writing Center video. It should be right there and viewed. If not, the link is right underneath that. So that is kind of an overview of the Writing Center. They give like what they do, their purpose, and kind of just some background information on how and why you would use their resources. And then from there, I would encourage you to go to the Stark State homepage under Info for Current Students. Scroll down to get to the Writing Center. And then there is kind of just like a little blurb. Obviously, all this is incorrect now because we cannot access them online, or excuse me, in person. We can only access them online. However, that's already been set up. So this is a resource they've already made available, is online access, which is great for kind of the situation that we find ourselves in right now. So I'm going to recommend that either now or keeping them in mind, if you have things going on in other classes, you click on Access the Online Writing Center, and you'll be asked to create an account for spring if you have not already done so in another class. So I've created an account just so I can show you what it looks like. So let's say that you do want to get some feedback on a paper you're working for, because some of you are taking comp classes and other classes that you have to do still, even in this virtual format. So you can still utilize the Writing Center and get their feedback. But this is how you'll have to do this. So you will log in and you'll see our schedule for the Writing Center. And obviously everyone is online only at this time. Anything that's already colored in is not available. So the white spaces are when someone is available. So if I wanted to schedule an appointment for later on today, I would find kind of the time first. You have all the tutors over here. If you have a preference, you may not care. So I would find my open time. I'm going to click on it. It'll bring up my reservation. I'm going to confirm, the time and everything. I'll scroll down and I just make sure I fill out all of these areas, what subject it is, the course name, who you have as an instructor, if they want to share session notes with you, and then specifically what you want to work on. This is going to really help them focus their attention. So if you really need help on maybe your introduction, maybe you need help on making sure your thesis statement is clear and the rest of the body supports it, put that in there. And then you can upload your document here, and then you create the appointment. You will then be getting an area in which you will meet your writing assistant over here. It is done through Blackboard, so you'll get like a link you'll get online and you'll be able to communicate that way. If you are uploading a full paper, I would recommend like giving them a day or so to read it so they have enough time to kind of process everything, because if not, and you schedule an appointment for like a half hour from now or whenever, they don't have as much time to read and process everything. So just keep that in mind. So for the terms of our particular takeaway, watch the video, visit the Writing Center information here, the Writing Center online. I will also show you here in My Stark State under academic support, there is a link for Writing Center, and it takes you to another page of the Writing Center that tells you more about them. And it also has some information, additional information and resources you could use. So using all those different places, the My Stark State Writing Center access, the current students, the online Writing Center, as well as our video, that's what you're going to use for your takeaway. So for your takeaway for the Writing Center, please still follow the same guidelines you've been using for your other takeaways. It needs to be 2 paragraphs, and you need to tell me what was interesting about anything you learned about the Writing Center. Was there something helpful potentially that you could use now or moving forward? How could you use it as a student? Have you used the Writing Center, and what was your experience like? So those are all the things you're going to talk about in your takeaway for the Writing Center. That is due week 10. It's due in March 31st. It's week 11, March 31st. And that counts as your week 10 attendance. So you're going to be submitting items for next week that'll count as your week 10 attendance. So that is your first assignment due on March 31st, is the Writing Center takeaway. All right. Now, last time we talked about the concepts found in chapter 5. So just real quickly, we talked about like why do we have to do academic tasks? You know, we have to meet certain outcomes. We talked about academic integrity, how this is kind of your honesty and learning policy, and how this shows your character and your learning. And there are different ways to be academically dishonest. You can plagiarize, you can cheat, you can give someone else an unfair advantage, including yourself. You can plagiarize off yourself, and we talked about that in the last video. And there are ways to make sure that you are avoiding that dishonesty. You know, being aware of all these definitions and what it means to be academically dishonest, you can avoid those behaviors. Making sure that you're citing and you're paraphrasing. There's also a section on papers and presentations, you know, choosing a topic. And then the writing process in general, that was the focus of your chapter 5 journal. Describe the writing process. So making sure you know about the different pieces and parts of the writing process. So chapter 5 also went into revision tips and then talked about presentations, specifically how to kind of work around or improve your presentation anxiety. So that was kind of the main focus of chapter 5. And then there was a bit at the end of the chapter talking about test-taking strategies, how to prepare for different types of tests. You know, if you're taking an essay test, you should prepare differently than if you're taking a multiple choice test. And then the benefits as well as drawbacks to online and take-home exams, which at this point for the rest of the semester, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, they will be the rest of the time considered pretty much take-home quizzes since we are working from home now. So that is chapter 5 kind of reviewed. We already talked about this in our last video. Now, normally I would do this activity as in class with you. Sorry, clicking on the wrong things here. This is something that I would normally break you into groups for and have everyone kind of approach it and talk about it. However, that is not in our realm of possibility right now. So this is going to become a homework assignment. This is called the Chapter 5 non-journal activity, also known as You Be the Judge activity. So you're going to see in this, and I'll show you in a minute where it's located in Blackboard, you're going to see 4 cases. So that they're very short. 4 different cases in which there may or may not have been an issue of academic integrity. Someone may be plagiarizing, cheating, being dishonest in some way, or maybe you think there's nothing wrong with the situation. So you're going to read those 4 cases, and there's some directions underneath. Again, this is normally where in a group setting you would talk about it, but we don't have that reality right now. For each case, so you're going to do this 4 times. For each case, tell me 3 things. 1, what was the offense? Did someone plagiarize? Did someone cheat? Or maybe you didn't think there was anything, and that's fine. Second question, what should the student in the situation have done differently? Should they have prepared? Should they have gone about it in a different way? Or again, maybe you think, they were fine. And then what should the consequence be? Should there be a consequence if there is an issue? So again, that part in particular is really opinionated because you're not an administrator, but you're kind of trying to put yourself in those shoes of how would you as an administrator or as a teacher handle that situation. And I just have a space right below where you can type for each of the cases the 3 responses. And so if you need to type more than that, obviously that'll space out differently. But you can type it right in there. So again, you are reading each case. For each case, you're answering those 3 questions, and there's a space for you to type those responses below. Let me show you where you access this in Blackboard. So under our Lessons tab again, which we're already in there, but Lessons tab, scroll down. We're in Chapter 5 still. Here we have our slides. There's your journal assignment, and the Dropbox is all in one there. Here is your non-journal. You be the judge. So right here underneath your journal is your non-journal. You click on that. It opens up down in the bottom if you're in Chrome, and there's the form I was just showing you. You type your answers, you save it to your desktop or your device or wherever it is you're saving things, and there's a Dropbox right below. Click inside the Dropbox. It'll tell you, oh, due next Tuesday, the 31st. You browse your computer, find where you saved it, open it, and submit it. That way I can see it on your end. Now, I know some of you have kind of asked questions about like email or Google Docs. I'm still fine with those methods. I know some of you prefer to send things those way, in those ways, and that's still fine. I am still comfortable getting information from you via Google Docs, via text messaging, whatever is easier for you, as long as I'm getting the assignments. So that's the Chapter 5 non-journal. You'll see the Dropbox is down there. In between the actual document and the Dropbox is a document that could potentially help you. It's our college's honesty and learning policy. So if you click on that, it should open right up. Here is a snippet of our policy and procedure manual that talks specifically about issues surrounding plagiarism, cheating, coursework, that kind of thing. It happens when a student is accused or caught of doing these things. There's a procedure that instructors and deans have to follow. That to you in case you would just like to reference that as you try to make your decision regarding, is there an offense? What should the consequence be? So you can reference that. It's not anything you have to do something with. It is simply there for a resource for you. So that's the non-journal. There's the document that could help you, and there's the journal Dropbox, the non-journal Dropbox. All right, already mentioned the takeaway. There's the Dropbox for the takeaway. So the Writing Center takeaway, after you spend time on those videos and web pages, you can Dropbox your takeaway right there. Or again, you can email it to me, you can Google Doc share with me, whatever is most comfortable. All right, the last thing for Chapter 5 for this week, initially Chapter 5 was supposed to be a take-home. It was supposed to be a take-home quiz. So again, it's already ready to go because this is going to be something I sent home with you. So you click on the Chapter 5 quiz. It opens up. Here is your quiz. All of this is based on Chapter 5. Now you'll notice, hopefully, excuse me, you will see multiple questions in one. For instance, question 1, your classmate is worried about unintentionally committing plagiarism. What advice can you give him? When do you need to cite a source? There's a couple questions embedded in that one particular question. You'll see that also down here. Number 5 is a little lengthy with the scenario. I think the rest are straightforward. But my key is, again, because I'm not seeing any of you face-to-face any longer, and we don't have like in-class quizzes right now, you have to really make sure you're being thorough with your responses. Please follow this 2 to 5 sentences. Please make sure you answer all parts of the question. If you have access to a printer at home, if you feel more comfortable printing it, handwriting it and sending me pictures, that's okay too. Or if you just want to type, right, it's really random, right in there, save it and upload it, that is fine also. The Dropbox for the Chapter 5 quiz is right underneath where you find the actual file itself. All right, so coming back, there we go. Coming back, so today, by 10 o'clock tonight, you are submitting week 9 work, the Chapter 4 quiz and the Chapter 5 journal. Those are due no later than tonight. Many of you have already submitted them, so you don't have to worry about it if you fall into that category. For week 10, so for today's lesson, there are 3 things you are submitting to me by next Tuesday, the 31st, through Dropbox, through email, through picture, however is easiest for you in this situation. 3 things: writing center takeaway. So view those videos, look at those lists, talk about in 2 paragraphs how you could use the writing center, how it could be useful to you, like you're used to doing when we actually had guest speakers right in front of us. That's the first thing, writing center takeaway. Second thing, Chapter 5 non-journal. You be the judge. You have the 4 cases. You answer 3 questions about each case. What's going on? What should they have done differently? What should the consequence be? There's a Dropbox for that as well. Third and final thing is your Chapter 5 quiz, originally scheduled as a take-home quiz anyway. You are going to open the quiz, type or print off and write your answers. Make sure you answer everything in complete sentences, 2 to 5 sentences, all parts of the question. Submit your quiz that way. So 3 things due on the 31st. All of those will count as your week 10 attendance for this week. So again, reach out if you need anything. Email me, call me, text me, whatever you need to try to feel comfortable to make sure you're getting everything done. And I hope you are all doing well, and I will see you soon.